Hi, welcome to Integrative Preparedness. I'm Steve Smith. My cameraman, the guru, just told me that it's awfully bright out here to be shooting a video, but this is when I have the time to do it, so I have to take it. And this is Kansas in the summertime. It is bright. Several things that I want to talk. First, well, the whole purpose of this one is going to be, what then? Then what? What are you going to do after your initial phase? But there's a few things that I want to touch on first. Just got the Renewal, the third book of the Stonemont series. Just got it okayed, and I approved it to go on sale on Amazon. So it is now on sale on Amazon in both Kindle and paperback. This is not the production copy. This is one of my proof author copies that I get to check and try to find all of my typos, and I think I found most of them. That's about all that I can guarantee, but that's why it has this strip on here. So now we have of the series, and this is the final book in the Stonemont series. The story will continue, but in a new series after that. It'll pick right up, and I won't give away too much of that right now. So so you can go on if you want and get a Kindle copy now, or order your paperback. Now, for you guys who know that you're getting a copy from me, just hang with it for a while. It's going to take me a couple of weeks to get those shipped to me, and then to get them signed and out in the mail to you. So they'll be along as quickly as I can get them done. I will be putting together something in the next couple of weeks. I've been really strapped for time here lately, for those who want autographed copies. So stand by for that. If you want the paperback before I get back on that, go ahead, because I'll have a way for you to mail me your copy, and I'll sign it and get it back to you. So that'd be great. And I thank everybody who have given me such great feedback on the first two books, and hope you enjoy the third one as much. I think that takes care of all the housekeeping on that kind of stuff. One of the things that I really appreciate is when people come to me, especially experienced preppers, and tell me what they've learned from the books, or how perhaps my books go into a different area than they're used to talking about or seeing, or whatever. And one of the things that one of my main people told me just recently is that he got a lot out of the fact that I take it down the road. Down the road a ways. Everybody's kind of thinking about, okay, the first 6 months and the first year, because we've been told that 90% of the people are going to die off in the first year after a cataclysmic event, EMP or CME or whatever. And who knows? I'll accept that. I think that sounds reasonable, just knowing how much we're dependent on the systems, on the interdependent systems over which we have very little control, and knowing people like I do, I'd say that if 10% survive, I'd be surprised. But anyway, he said, and others have kind of echoed it, that they like the fact that I go beyond that. When I was a kid, I bought, I think when I was about 7th grade or so this is in the mid-60s, I bought an electric guitar, because all of us guys wanted to be cool and play the electric guitar in a garage band, which we figured would take us on to great things. And so I bought a little electric guitar and a little amp, and I started practicing, and I learned 3 chords. I don't remember what the chords were, but I remember that I could play 3 songs with those chords. One was Satisfaction by the Stones, one was House of the Rising Sun by the Animals, and the other was Gloria by I don't remember who. So I would sit there, and boy, once I got those chords down, I'd sit in my bedroom and I'd strum that guitar, and I'd just see myself as something great, and over and well, after a while, you can only play Satisfaction, House of the Rising Sun, and Gloria so much, even before you drive even yourself nuts, let alone other people. And I soon realized that I wasn't destined for greatness in the music world. I kind of equate this with a lot of the people in the preparedness movement. Everybody has their favorite things: food, water, weapons, medical, a few things. And I hear a lot about how they are going to survive, whether they're bugging out, in which case I'll tell you you're not going to survive that long, or however they're going to do it. But there seems to be kind of a stopping point there, beyond which the idea of living farther into the future isn't really discussed. And that's what I want. I'm not going to talk about it in great deal. Actually, that's what my books are about. But that's what I would suggest that people start thinking about more. After the first, oh my gosh, what's happened? We got to survive, and how do we do that? And the world's going to pot, and it changes a lot, and a lot of things are worse, and probably some things are better. What then? Then what? Do you just stay in that survival mode for the rest of your life? And your kids, do they just learn to live, out in the woods and eating acorns and scrabbling by for the most basic of existences, and living on some kind of hodgepodge situation? Maybe some want to do that. I certainly don't. I like having a nice life, and I'll be honest, my if and when it happens, my energy and my thoughts are going to be going into, after survival, how to build back up. And building back up means community, not just your community on whatever little place you are, but inter-community commerce and communications, and bringing back life to a point to where it is not just livable but enjoyable. And I'm sure there are a lot of people out there watching, well, probably not a lot, but if you're watching this and it's going, well, I don't see how that could happen, it's just gonna suck, and we gotta go out there and ruck around and carry our go bags and eat our goats and all this stuff for forever. Well, I just kind of say to you, you might want to think about upping your game and thinking about developing a life in the future that's worth living. Like I say, that's what my series of books is about. It talks about surviving through the, well, I'll show them again for any of those who don't know. The first was the Reversion, okay. The second was the Revival, and the third, I'm going to need somebody to start helping me. The third is the Renewal. And I talk about and I explain in fairly good detail the things that I believe would happen or could happen in the situation. And I go through the initial survival, and then the rebuilding of local communities, and then how those communities come together, and then how those communities integrate with one another, in some cases in good form, and in some cases not so good form. Not everybody out here is going to be a wonderful person, and not everybody out here is going to be a terrible person. It's going to be pretty much like we have now, probably, but with fewer people. You can have good, bad, and the in between. And so I would suggest that you start thinking about, read my books. Think about what happens down the road as these communities develop, as the inter-community communications and commerce develops. What then will develop if everything has gone out throughout the world? Will we have a recreation of states? Will we have a recreation of countries? Will we have a recreation of kingdoms or of warlords or whatever? Chances are it's going to be all of that, and then you're going to see how those different groups interact with each other, and some you're going to be able to deal with them, and some you're going to have to kill them if you don't want them to kill you. And so anyway, that's the point of this, is that don't be a three-chord prepper. Don't be satisfied with playing Satisfaction and House of the Rising Sun and Gloria. Push yourself, and don't just read my books, but think about yourself. I mean, do your own thinking is what I mean by that. Do your own thinking. And what would you need? What would you want to start with in order to put yourself in the best situation to work within that new scenario of a new world? And that can be an extremely interesting exercise. And it's one that I think everyone should do, and it's be well worth your effort, because I think it will have a difference in how you prep. I just got a very, very nice review on the Reversion, I believe it was, from a guy who has written his own book and was a security contractor in the Mideast and a number of other things. And I'm sorry if you're watching this, buddy. I'm going to go back and just kind of give you a personal shout out on this. I appreciated your review, and I just haven't had time to hardly do anything but get this last book out. But he said in there, and he was very nice, that after reading my book, it completely changed how he had approached his prepping. So I hope that it's that beneficial to you as well. But however you do it, up your game, take it beyond. Think about the next year. Think about the next 5 years. Think about your kids. Think about your grandkids and what you want to have at the point to where this happens, that will enable you to be in the best position to get there, and then work like the dickens to get there. I think we've got a few more years. I think that this next election in 2020, of course, you never know. I mean, if you watch that, those two debates the last week, you got to wonder where that thinking comes from, and if that side wins, all bets are off. But I'm hoping, of course, as you are, and I think there's a pretty good chance that Trump will take this next one, and we're going to have another 5 or so years to get ready, but there's no guarantee. And I would say that unless things turn around real a whole lot, then the next one is going to take us right back down in the ditch. So anyway, that's it for today. If you want to get it, remember that the Renewal is, well, that's not the Renewal. Well, buy the Reversion if you hadn't. Okay, the Renewal, but do, and I've said this in the other books, don't buy this one or don't read this one. I'd love you to buy it, but don't read it until you've read the others, because I've set them up in sequence. If you don't read them in sequence, you're not going to understand a lot that's in the second and third books. So with that, I wish you a great day. Looks like we're starting to get some clouds, and you all remember that we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow. Thanks a lot. Take care.